Life Disciplines Projects, also known as LDP, is a life management framework, which has been discussed in a previous video of mine. I will assume that you're already familiar with it, and if not, please check the card on the top right or the description below. And with that out of the way, let's jump straight into the video. LDP is a framework, meaning that, according to Google anyways, we're working with some basic structure underlying a system, concept, or text. LDP is meant to be implemented into whatever system you use to externalize your thoughts. If you find that you only use pen and paper to manage LDP, then by all means, use pen and paper. Today, however, we'll be taking a look at LDP and its implementation within Obsidian, and how it can be further evolved to meet your needs. Obsidian describes itself as a powerful knowledge base on top of a local folder of plain text markdown files. But what does powerful mean? There's various reasons why Obsidian is powerful, but today I want to focus on 4 things: linking, tagging, plugins, and markdown. Let's start with linking. Let's say you have 2 text files, which I'll refer to as notes. One note talks about the mitochondria, and the other note talks about biological energy. You can link these 2 ideas together and say that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell to create biological energy. Linking is done by encasing the file name in double square brackets. This is useful such that in the future, you can come back to the mitochondria note and then rediscover that it links to biological energy. Tagging is useful such that its use cases are very versatile. Any term can be turned into a tag just by putting a hashtag in front of it. A tag will apply to the entire note, and a note can have an infinite amount of tags. You can use these tags and search for notes that only contain a specific set of tags. You'll see later that tags are used to define tasks and to manage them, which is outside of their default function. In this case, we'll be tagging a line of text, as well as the entire note itself, which in this case is obsolete. Obsidian has a wide range of community plugins. Some of these plugins are simple, while others are really complex. Discovering them and choosing what works for you within your workflow allows you to build on top of the given framework of LDP. Markdown is a lightweight standard for creating formatted text using plain text. You can annotate lines or text with certain symbols, and they get rendered accordingly. What's important to note here is that text is formatted as plain text. This means that your notes are not proprietary to a specific application or the cloud. These notes are also stored locally on your computer. They are yours forever and for you to modify however they seem fit. Did I forget to mention that text was stored as plain text? Text is stored as plain text. So with a brief introduction of Obsidian out of the way, let's dive straight into a simple integration of LDP into Obsidian. This showcase has been uploaded onto GitHub and is available to download in the description below. Starting with the left panel, on the top you see that we have our starred notes. This is where we can bookmark any important notes that we need quick access to. To the bottom of starred notes, we have our file explorer. Here we have our life, disciplines, projects, habits, resources, as well as a dedicated folder to do alignment. Notice that there's a numbering prefix in front of these folders. This showcase loosely numbers folders similar to that of the Dewey Decimal System, which is used in libraries to organize their numerous books. Here, we use it to push the most frequently touched folders to the top. It's also used to quickly reference dashboards, which will be discussed shortly. Also notice that there's no core components that are nested within each other. That is, projects are not placed within disciplines. This is intentional because I believe all components should be atomic. This allows greater flexibility, such that projects that are considered multidisciplinary are no longer tied to a single discipline. If you feel that some of these components should be nested within each other, by all means go ahead. So long as it makes sense with you, it is correct to you. If we expand the life folder, there's a single note that has the same name, if not a similar one, to that of the folder name. This note is your dashboard. Dashboards have various purposes, which vary from being portals into your resources, a collection of knowledge, or a collection of tasks. Within Obsidian, life, disciplines, and projects all have some sort of dashboard to condense relevant and important information for that component. Some of these dashboards have emojis to give character to the workspace. Notice that folders don't have emojis. This is intentional as the Data View plugin, which aggregates information through queries, is unable to recognize emojis inside of folders. Multiple dashboards can exist within a component of LDP. The life dashboard will be where you define your life pillars and life dynamic. If we expand disciplines, you notice that we have additional folders to hold each discipline. The dashboard for disciplines explain what it is, why it's important, relevant, the pillars, and dynamic. They also house any tasks. Projects follow suit, except however, instead of pillars and dynamic, they hold the objective and completion criteria. Habits are flexible, as you only really need what will hopefully make the habit stick or dissolve. Additional sections you could include are what the habit is, why it's important and relevant, how long you'll be doing this for, etc. The resources folder holds all the generally useful notes. This is where your personal knowledge management, also known as PKM, lies. You can keep whatever structure you originally had if you are migrating from somewhere else. In this showcase, resources are organized flat. Under alignment, we have our daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly check-ins. How you do alignment is entirely up to you, but consider checking out the ceremonies Scrum note as a reference to doing checkups. So what's been presented so far was the organization of LDP in Obsidian, but now we're going to look into how to actually do work within this framework. As a reminder, tasks are your actionable items in LDP, and as such, we need some kind of task management workflow. This showcase uses the Tasks plugin. However, there are other task management plugins that may work better for how you organize your tasks. As I was showing you the organization of LDP, you may have noticed some listed items. Notice how some of them have the hashtag task prepended to them. Any checkboxed item with this tag will be considered a task by the Tasks plugin. You can add due dates to these tasks, as well as a certain repetition if you so desire. Checking an item off will automatically append the completion date, as well as repeat the task if it has a repetition. Tasks can be aggregated by using Obsidian's code block. You can aggregate all of your tasks that are unfinished, finished, due today, due tomorrow, and much more. Be sure to check out the plugin's documentation for more details. This, among other functions, is a great quality of life to managing your tasks. Examples of queries can be found under the main dashboards, as well as the dashboards of disciplines, but something I want to bring to your attention is views. On the right panel on the bottom section, you can see your planned tasks, ongoing tasks, as well as your habits. These views are quick queries that bring information that are relevant front and center. If I add the planned tag to a task, it will now appear under planned. Adding the ongoing tag will now have it appear under ongoing and remove it from planned. Completing the task will remove it entirely. With this, you should be able to brainstorm your work, plan for today's work, do the work, then document the finished work. Another frequent thing you'll find yourself doing within LDP is alignment. On the right side pane in the middle, there is the calendar. This is where you can visually see your daily and weekly notes. You can also find them on the left under 500 alignment. Monthly, quarterly, and yearly notes are not visually supported at the moment, but are still operational. If you click on a date, you will open the note for that date. Within that, you can do your alignments. Templates here will help immensely to reduce overhead. To do monthly, quarterly, and yearly alignment, you will have to open up the command palette and look up the command under periodic notes. Here's a more realized example of LDP in action, which is my personal implementation of it. It's a bit messy since I haven't respected my habits as of lately, but today it will serve its purpose. Under life, I have pillars and dynamic as front matter, which when in preview mode appears here. Pillars are fleshed out below as well as the dynamic. Tasks and ramblings have their own dedicated dashboard, since both can grow to infinite lengths. Whenever I find a rambling to be useful, I can refactor it into its own node. Disciplines more or less follow the same structure. Projects are the same as well, but they also have a retrospection on the bottom to reflect on the project when it's finished. Inbox is my messy workspace. It's pretty messy. Alignment follows a personalized flavor of Scrum's daily stand-up. I would usually do this in the morning, and if I have any random thoughts throughout the day, I will jot them under today's note under ramblings. At night, I try to have a cooldown period to reflect on today's work and plan for tomorrow. My workflow with tasks is the same as previously presented. That more or less wraps up how I implemented LDP into my life. That's pretty much all there is to present on LDP when it comes to Obsidian. Remember that LDP is a framework, and that you can apply its ideas to other tools like Notion, Google Docs, or simple pen and paper. It's something that you have to build yourself, so you have to exert some actual effort, as things are with life. If you feel that you ever need some guidance, feel free to join the Obsidian Discord or the LDP Discord. Links are in the description below. This is Uwe, a solo indie game developer with the objective of creating an experience. My goal is to make people cry, but not through simple sadness, but through sheer beauty. Making and publishing LDP was my way of setting up production for my games and to realize why I wanted to make games. I have plans to document my journey of game development plus more. If you think you might be interested, consider liking and subscribing. And to show further support, consider donating to me on Ko-fi and following me on Twitter. Thanks for watching, and I hope I made your day a little bit better.